In the heart of California's Central Valley lies the city of Fresno, a place rich in history, culture, and agricultural abundance. But how did this thriving city come to be? Join us on a journey through time as we explore the origins of Fresno, known as the Raisin City.
As America continued to explore and expand westward during the 19th century, pioneers traveled to previously unknown territories in search of opportunity and fortune. The idea of manifest destiny, on top of a promise of fertile land and even gold, brought a lot of people over here. We had people coming from all over the world to Fresno. One big reason that a lot of people came into California was the gold rush of 1848. Thousands of people came to the Golden State to try their luck at striking it rich. Although it was most popular to find riches in the gold mines and the fields, a lot of people saw potential of the fertile and plentiful agricultural lands within the Central Valley, and this is what began the rapid settlement and industrialization of Fresno for years to come. Amidst the rugged landscape of the Central Valley, a new frontier was born. Settlers carved out homesteads, planted crops, and established towns, laying the groundwork for what would become the city of Fresno.
So a decade before Fresno actually came together, with more and more families and settlers moving west, the United States was involved in their own destructive conflict. The Civil War raged on between 1861 and 1865. There were about 620,000 soldiers killed in this conflict. So of course, the Civil War involved the North fighting the South over the controversial issue of slavery. And while this conflict continued on the east side of the country, California itself actually did help to supply ammunition and soldiers to the valiant North. And the riches that were found in the Golden State did end up helping the North's war effort in the end, which helped them to end slavery once and for all. So the lead up to the founding of Fresno not only involved the Civil War, but also the creation of the Transcontinental Railroad in 1869. This invention and creation completely transformed the transportation of goods as well as people across the United States. It was able to connect the east coast of the country to the west coast, and it created many different opportunities for industrialization and transportation of people to new lands. It also kickstarted California's ability to transport goods and produce grown in the Central Valley to states across the entire country. This allowed the Golden State to rapidly grow and eventually become the breadbasket of the United States of America. Our city was founded by a man named Leland J. Stanford, who was one of the directors of the railroad company. Fresno is actually Spanish for ash tree, because he named the city after the hundreds of ash trees that lined the San Joaquin River back then and still to this day.
Fresno was able to capitalize on the swift and ever-so-changing industrialization and urbanization of the late 19th century. With improvements in irrigation systems and agricultural advancements, Fresno was able to transform a once dry and desolate wasteland into productive farmland. These events allowed Fresno to not only become the agricultural capital of California, but the agricultural capital of the United States. By the time the 20th century rolled around, Fresno has become a flourishing city in the heart of the Central Valley. Its diverse population and vibrant economy reflected the dynamic spirit of a nation on a move. Today, Fresno stands as a testament of time to the resilience and ingenuity of those who came before us. It's a story intertwined with the larger narrative of American history, a story of growth, change, and the pursuit of an American dream. As Fresno evolved into a thriving hub of agriculture, its fortunes embedded and flowered with the tides of history. The early 20th century witnessed the rise of agribusinesses, with innovation in irrigation and mechanization transforming the landscape and economy of the region. The establishment of Fresno State College in 1911 further underscored the community's commitment to education and progression, providing a platform for intellectual inquiry and social mobility. However, Fresno's journey also bore witness to dark chapters in American history. The legacy of racial segregation and discrimination loomed large, shaping the experiences of communities of color with struggles with recognition and equality. From the era of Jim Crow laws, the civil rights movement of the mid-20th century, Fresno served as both a battleground and beacon with individuals and organizations fighting for justice and inclusivity.
Constructed in 1894, the Old Fresno Water Tower was built to address the city's growing needs for water storage and firefighting capabilities. Rising 109 feet above the ground, it quickly became a symbol of Fresno's progress and prosperity. The Old Fresno Water Tower is a true survivor. It has weathered earthquakes, fires, and the passage of time, yet it still stands tall as a reminder of Fresno's resilience and determination.
Hello everyone, we are here at the old downtown Fresno Water Tower. We're going to see if we can find some locals to, maybe ask some questions and get some more information about it. Got someone right here. Let's go see if he can help us out. Excuse me, sir, are you familiar with the water tower right here?
Yeah, I am
I was
actually.
wondering if you could answer a few questions for me real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so number one is going to be, who designed the water tower?
His name would be George Washington Mars from Chicago, Illinois.
Wow, and what's the style that it was built in?
It was built in the Romanesque style. It was actually designed after another water tower that was built in Worms, Germany in 1890.
Wow. And when was it completed?
They completed this one in November of 1894.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
And how much did it cost to build it?
So back then it cost $20,000. In today's money, it'd be about $720,000. Quite a bit of money.
It looks really tall. Do you know how tall it is exactly?
It's actually 109 feet tall exactly.
Wow.
And it has a steel case. It holds 250,000 gallons of water when it was in use.
Just a couple blocks down from the Fresno Water Tower stands the San Joaquin Light and Power Corporation building. It was completed in 1912, and it served as the headquarters for the electric utility company that brought power to the Central Valley. At a time when electricity was starting to revolutionize our daily lives, the San Joaquin Light and Power Corporation building helped play an important role in powering the growth and development of Fresno and the Central Valley.
Welcome back, everyone. So we're over here at the San Joaquin Light and Power Corporation building, and we're going to see if we can get some interesting facts about this place. Excuse me, sir. Would you happen to know anything about this building right here?
I would love to. So, right now we're here on Fulton and Plum Street. This building stands approximately 173 feet tall. That's pretty high. It's pretty old, built around 1924 in the Italian Renaissance Revival style. During its lifespan, it counted around 7 San Joaquin Valley counties. And around 1939, it actually merged with the PG&E company.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right, so could you just kind of tell us who you are and what you specialize in?
Of course, I'm Tyler Semrick. I'm with the Fresno County Historical Museum at the Fresno Fairgrounds. Originally hired as a tour guide, I'm now the museum manager, which means I'm in charge of event coordination, event hosting, artifact curation, and maintenance, as well as just providing for the education of any individuals that happen to visit the museum.
All right, so we're just gonna ask you a few questions, and if you could just answer the best of your ability, we would appreciate it. So first question, what factors contributed to the founding of Fresno and its early growth?
That's a really good question. As far as Fresno is concerned, we owe a lot to the railroad. Already established and coming through the area, it was only natural for a small town to form for the railroad workers and everybody who was visiting the region in terms of the industries that follow the railroad industry. And so naturally homes and shops began to crop up, and that's really where Fresno began to grow. In terms of agriculture, our fertile landscape and our ideal situation for irrigation naturally improved the odds of us over any other region in the immediate area being selected. And then as the town grew, economic opportunities came with it, and more tradesmen and more shops began opening up to service not just the railroad worker, but those that provided services to the railroad workers and people who ended up stopping at the stop that was established here for the materials to build. And so projects like Sierra Logging Railroad and the Shaver Flume came about in order to bring the lumber that would build historical Fresno.
And how has immigration and diversity impacted Fresno's demographics and culture?
Immigration has played a tremendous role in Fresno's development, and it contributed greatly to our cultural diversity. Fresno is one of the most culturally diverse cities in all of California. They've brought agricultural influence in terms of new agricultural technique that would go on to revolutionize industries. In terms of cultural contributions, each culture that's come to Fresno has brought their own cultural traditions and their own plights. Civil rights movement, particularly in terms of workers, and it helps diversify our college environment, preparing students for a much more globalized world.
Another question we got is, what are some significant milestones or turning points in Fresno's history?
The arrival of the Central Pacific Railroad in 1872 is really what started Fresno, establishing us as a major agricultural and economic hub. Our city was incorporated in 1885 and helped formalize our urban structure and governance. We had the raisin boom in the late 1800s, as well as opening of a state normal school, now California State University. Our civil rights, in the civil rights movements of the 1960s and 70s, we had a significant role in terms of workers' rights and agricultural rights. And as far as social justice, those fights and participation continue today. And as our economy diversified in the late 20th century, we've moved away from agriculture, but we've started providing and investing much more into sectors like healthcare, education, manufacturing, and reducing our economic dependency on agriculture alone. And now today, and this is ongoing, we're involved in the development of being a central hub for the high-speed rail.
And then last question, what are some local traditions or stories that highlight Fresno's unique character?
That's a really good question. There's almost too many stories to count, but I'll give you a few of them. Now, I will admit my bias. I do work for the Big Fresno Fair, but we were founded in 1884 and we're the 5th largest in the state. And we draw tremendous crowds from all around the area. And this coming year, we are celebrating our 141st anniversary. Aside from being the fairgrounds, which is a huge hub of music, trade, and other social interaction, we also host over 300 events there a year, including the Hmong New Year Festival, which is the largest in the United States. In addition to that, we have Raisin Day, which celebrates our status as a major producer of raisins, a tradition originating in the early 20th century. And along with that, we have Christmas Tree Lane, which was started after a child passed away in a neighborhood that is now Fig Garden. And as the tradition grew from there, as families began to light their trees in solidarity, it grew into the annual holiday we know today.
Awesome. That was perfect.
Good?
Yes. Thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it.
I'm happy to help.
In the end, Fresno has a rich history that dates back to over 150 years ago. Thanks to the Transcontinental Railroad running through this land, Fresno was able to be established and eventually grow into the flourishing city it has become today. A place full of life and culture, today we can look at Fresno's historic monuments and statues to help give us insight on how this town came to be. Thank you for being with us on this journey.